Alrighty, how you doing? It's OCBhoy here. Just to let you know that there's a slight technical issue in the first minute of the episode. It's a bit jumpy, but it does calm down after that, so please bear with us. Just a brief outline. This is our first show since the Huns game, so catch up on Barca, Inverness, Alloa, and we do a slight Kilmarnock preview and Man City preview. Cheers for listening. Hail.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Enough of the Spectcast with HailHailMedia. So it's just me and OCBhoy to take you through the latest.
Aye, not a lot. It was quite a quiet one. Was just enjoying some FIFA with yourself, and then we
travelled to Barcelona 3 days later, and we lost 7-0, which was historically our worst ever defeat in Europe. And I believe that our Celtic goalkeeper nearly 7 goals in one game. Apart from being classed by, some of the best players in the world, who are playing their best about at the minute. Do you get anything to add on what happened in the Barcelona game?
Barcelona's Barcelona. Celtic let them slow down that night. Like, the first half, conceded a stupid early goal, but after that I actually thought we maintained ourselves quite well, and obviously we get a golden opportunity with Moussa Dembele when he wins a penalty, steps up to take it, and he scored a few already, so I think we fully expected him to score, but after the keeper saved that, I think everything just sort of went to shit, and it was just, there's a lot of silly goals we were conceding, like goals straight after we'd conceded, just a lot of basic things, but you'd like to think the team could learn from that.
I agree. I mean, I kind of try to be flippant and not talk about it because it was quite an embarrassing defeat, but you're right. I don't think the penalty miss changed much. I think they just annoyed them. They scored a couple more. I think it was just a wee reality check for Rodgers and Celtic about just where we're at, because you were kind of starting to dream under Rodgers that we were going to win every game at one point, but obviously we were never going to do that. But just a wee reminder that we've still got a long way to go, and I think that we'll learn more for that game in Barcelona. So moving on, we've actually returned to league business, notoriously tough venue for ourselves, Inverness. I must admit it was a strange game of football, because I think everybody said we can see an Inverness equaliser coming, but it wasn't because they were good, it was because Celtic were wasteful. Just starting that, Rodgers kept a similar team that started. They played Gamboa at right back. They kept Doris de Vries in for the Inverness game. I think the first goal was Doris de Vries' fault after Tom Rogic had opened the scoring for Celtic. You didn't see the first half, am I right in saying that?
I didn't see the first half live. I've seen some highlights of it now, but I've not watched the full game. I thought Rodgers was right to stick with guys like De Vries and Gamboa, because the worst thing he could have done would have been to chuck them out of the team after they lost 7 against Barcelona. I think it was right to get the guys in the team, try and bed them in a bit more, get a bit of confidence up with them.
Part of me agrees, I can't disagree with that. I think it was Caffeinian on Twitter that said Gamboa should be the first name on the team sheet, which I kind of agreed with. I thought it was good man management for Brendan Rodgers. Just on the Inverness game, you said you seen the second off. We really should have been out of sight in that game,
Aye, well, I think I got to the pub 5 minutes after the start of the second half, and we just seemed to have so many chances. Like Tierney, McGregor, Dembele, Roberts, everybody seemed to get their chance. It was like there was even people where I was who were saying half an hour out, this is just going to come back to bite us if we don't take one of these chances. Just
before we talk about it coming back to bite us, Josef Simonovic made his return to action since January, and obviously talk was that it was no talk that he was going to Torino. He was in Torino when we were in Turin, and the deal fell through at the last minute. He said on Sky Sports News, I thought quite professionally, that it's football and he'll be back in order at Celtic, working hard to get back into the team. I thought he looked quite good when he came on. What was your thoughts on him? Were you happy to see him back in the team? Or?
Aye, absolutely. I know me and you are sort of on the same wavelength for this. We have been big fans of Jozo, and we're happy to see him back in the team. I thought he played well. He had a nice few touches. He seemed pretty confident on the ball, like the sort of thing you'd think Rodgers would be after. I thought he got away from him and got the header in, but it's down to a variety of factors. I think even you can look at guys like Tierney for getting away with that foul.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought he was at fault for the goal in the sense. I thought he got caught under the ball, but as you say, I thought on the ball he looked quite good. They tried to spark a couple of moves, and there were one where the ball got fired up and he twisted it down and just played it away nonchalantly, and I thought he really could be the answer. We might just have won a watch with Torino messing about with on deadline day. So Inverness get a late equaliser, thoroughly undeserved, but I guess you sort of seen it coming because of how dominant Celtic had been. People were saying that, well, first of all, it was with a 100% record in the league on, and people were starting to question if the honeymoon date was over for Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. What did you think? Do you think there was a problem with the mental side of thing, or do you think Inverness's goal was just one of the things?
A bit of both. I think we weathered out a wee storm against St Johnstone, scored quite late against Hearts and weathered it out. Obviously we were 2-0 down against Hapoel, and seeing that out, maybe they were just like, we've actually been no bad at seeing these things out, but we should have took our chances. I think it was a bit of a reality check, because there's people like me who was dreaming that we would go and win every game in the league. Like, I've even got a bet on that we won't lose in the league, but that was a bit of a reality check for me on Sunday. But no, I think it's maybe we'll keep them on their guard a bit more, but like you say, Inverness isn't an easy place to go.
No, it's not, and I think that they're, after a slow start, they're starting to kind of get to grips with their league form, and I didn't think, well, first of all, I didn't think they were that good. But you know, with Inverness, especially at home, you know, you're always going to get a tough game. Should have seen the game out, but as I said on Sunday, people were comparing, I know we'll talk about last night, people were comparing it to the last year, or certainly the last 2 years under Ronnie Dyer, but I think the main difference between this team and that, well, there's a lot of differences, and this team is a lot better, and that's coming from two Dyer fans, me and you, but we're creating chances. You know, I'd be more disappointed if we only created 2 chances and scored, you know, kind of 2 goals on the break or something, and then they've come back. So we're creating chances, and I know it's easy to say on another day because it's been a few games like that this season. We've said on another day we'd score 4 or 5, but I just thought that, you know, we are creating the chances, and I think if Griffiths was any to help Celtic a couple. Do you see any similarities between this team and last year?
Not particularly. Like, a lot of the time with Dyla's teams, it was just really poor and side to side passing, whereas this team does have a bit more killer instinct. I mean, obviously McGregor especially has had a few chances. Tierney's hit the bar. Dembele was a bit wasteful as well. Roberts is, it's just one of the things. I don't think there's much point comparing the two teams. I think Rodgers' team's clearly a better team.
Yeah, I think they're well recognised and a lot further in their schedule than Dyer ever seemed to get his team. But we mentioned there for Scott Sinclair. I know he never scored last night, but he scored in the first 5 league games this season. I think he's the first player since Jimmy McGrory to do that. Obviously, he won't score as much as Jimmy did, but how much a breath of fresh air has Sinclair been to this team?
I think Scott Sinclair really is the sort of poster boy for the type of quality player that we still can attract, because he's just a class above everything. Even in the new camp, he showed flashes of just being at that level, and he's looked excellent. I know he didn't score against Alloa last night, but he changed the game when he came on. I know Roberts was quite ineffectual, but Sinclair come on and just Alloa couldn't handle him.
I think my biggest thing about him is I know he's quick and that it's his intelligence that, like, you know, see his goal against Motherwell in the League Cup in the previous round, he cuts inside and it'd be easy for him just to, but he takes a wee feint, and as you see it for the angle, because the camera picked it up perfectly, it just opens that whole corner up for him and he puts it in. And I thought no other player in their team would have scored a goal like that. You know, they would have hit the shot as soon as it opened up. I just think I likened him to Aaron Thompson, not just because we signed him for Aston Villa, but a player coming up, around about 26, 27. He's got a point to prove. You know, he's been out the kind of limelight for a while. Obviously, he loves playing for Rodgers, and as you're saying, it is just a wee marker that not only that we can attract players of his quality, but we are a good place for players of his quality to come. You know, because you can see it already. He's loving life up here. He's loving his relationship with supporters. If he keeps scoring, we'll keep cheering for him. I know Dembele. They've all been good signings, and then we'll get to De Vries in a minute. But I don't know about yourself, but I just think Sinclair's a marker for me that how this is the level that Rodgers has taken us to already. Things changed when he signed, I think, and he's not a certain type, he's not a big bruiser, but it's the mentality of the whole club, I think, changed the minute he walked in. And I don't know about yourself, but I just think players will want to play like him.
Aye, I think it just shows that we were right to chase him most of the summer until we got it over the line, because this is the standard we should be aiming for, and it'll help attract players, it'll help develop players that are already at the club. It's just been a great signing.
And just a bit of off point on Sinclair, well, maybe not Sinclair, but what he brings to the team, I think Kieran Tierney's been far better since Sinclair's in there. I think the two of them have already got a great understanding.
They seem to work very well with each other, and I don't know where it's come from, but Tierney seems to be even more of an attacking presence when it comes to shots and that now. I know he only scored one goal last season, but the last 3 games or something he's hit the crossbar about 3 times as well. So
I think he's been told by Rodgers, because teams, I don't know if it's it seems to be a historic one, but teams sort of always stand off left backs, and Tierney's shown that he can go either way. He only goal scored as his right foot against Motherwell. He's shown that he can go left or right, and he keeps getting better. Tierney, I think he's had a few poor games defensively this season, but I just think he's such a joy to have a player that we've brought through ourselves. He's clearly one of our own, and he just keeps getting better every week. He might get a bye. Sometimes, I thought he was poor against Hapoel, but it's just great to see us bringing through a player that's getting better every 90 minutes. And last night he was really unlucky with that volley. The keeper had absolutely no chance.
See, before we go on to last night, I just want to hang about the Inverness game. What did you make of the Sviatchenko challenge?
I thought it was a foul, I'll no lie. I thought it was a foul, and if it's a foul, it's probably a red. But Draper done himself, he did a big dramatic move. Now, I know all about, I understand the argument saying he always get every right to get his body in front and get fouled, but when you make such a dramatic movement like that, with not just your legs but with your body, your ass, you're kind of showing the referee saying, I want a foul here. And I thought he shoved into Sviatchenko a wee bit. Up the other end, I'd have been screaming for a foul and I didn't care. But, and obviously I'm going to sound dead biased here, but I think he done himself out at Draper. He was through and goal, kind of full image to scored. And if that was a red card, then I don't know why Carol Tamarco wasn't sent off for when he hacked Roberts down outside the box. Because Roberts was on his left foot, just entering the box about to cut him at the corner. Tamarco just brought him down from behind. I thought that was a red card. I know the rules are a wee bit iffy about last man, and if it's a penalty it's only about, and if it's a free kick it's a red card. But I thought it was a foul, but looking at it, and I've seen it a few times, Draper's only got himself to blame for it. That would be my point.
I think that it's one of the ones, it depends what angle you see, and then it's just I think they go for you or against you. It was obviously a slightly different type of challenge, but it's pretty similar to when Dedrick Boyata gets sent off against Hamilton for, where you can argue that he won the ball, but he was shown a red card that day, whereas Sviatchenko's got away with one maybe. But I think it's just one of the ones that could go either way.
It could either, you're right, it could go down as a foul or coming together between players. I just thought Draper, he's got every right to try and get his body in front of the ball, but he wasn't getting his body in front of the ball, he had the ball. He made too much of a move towards Sviatchenko, I thought. And, the referees play on, we might have got a really bad there, but I don't think, Draper's got himself to blame. I don't think you can point fingers at Sviatchenko or Toure. I think just, one of the things.
What about Alloa again? What did you make it?
It was a largely frustrating 90 minutes, I must admit. I thought we played well from back to front, just that little final ball, well, more so the finish, because Lustig and Tierney put some like good crosses on last night. Finishing was poor. I think we had 25 shots at goal or something, and only 9 were on target. You know, that's quite poor. Took my time. But, you know, I thought the team, alright, they kept going, but I never thought we were in any danger of getting beat. I just always thought I could score eventually, because this is what we're quite good at. I don't know what you thought about it. You were at the game. Wasn't a great crowd, but I think they can understand that, considering the start the fans have had this season with the Champions League and the friendlies that were charged, and also the 2 League Cup games. What did you make of the first half? Which should have been played away for you, I imagine.
Aye, that was the near end, but it was just one of the games where Alloa, they're obviously going to put 10 men behind the ball or whatever. It's just the longer it takes you to break down, the harder it seems to break them down. Obviously James Forrest had a good run that led to a Tom Rogic shot within 30 seconds, and if that goes in another day we win by 5 or 6, but no, first half was alright. I thought we obviously had most of the ball, but I think the one talking point for the first half seemed to be Craig Gordon's foul on Greg Spence. What did you make it?
It was a foul, and it was a booting. The reason, I mean, I was arguing with Hunter on Twitter last night about this, and he's not on the night, which is a shame, because I'd have loved to discuss it with him a wee bit more. The thing that saves Gordon for me is the ball. Gordon's only got eyes on the ball, and if the ball was rolling across the deck and he kicks a guy in the ribs, I would say aye, it's a red card. But the ball's bouncing at Gordon at a speed, and he's come out and he's missed the ball. The difference between that and a reckless tackle is, see if Gordon kicks the ball, he still clatters into Greg Spence. I don't think, he missed the ball, he didn't go for the player, and the ball was there to be won. So I think the ball was there to be won. I think that just about saves Gordon. I mean, I don't know what you thought about it, but I just couldn't. Maybe I'm biased, as was suggested last night, but I just thought with the ball being that height, Gordon's got every right to go and get it. And I know keepers are a wee bit of a protected species, but I thought about it was fair.
I didn't think it was a red card in a million years. I reckon we'd have all been screaming at Gordon if he hadn't went in for it, because Spence would have just took it round him and scored probably. But I think it was just Craig Gordon's got to come for it, and he doesn't go with studs, and he's no caught him on the shin. He's just sort of came across him. It's just a coming together. Like, I was actually quite surprised when the amount of people that were trying to claim it was a red card.
It looked a lot worse than it was because of the way Gordon's came at it, but the ball's there to be won, and he has hit him in the ribs, but it is high, it's dangerous, but I think with the ball being there, Gordon's got every right to come and get it, and as I say, if he kicks the ball into Rose's head, he still clatters Greg Spence. So for me, a booking was just. So at half time, well, just before half time, that was the Craig Gordon incident, but did you think at half time Paddy Roberts' night was up?
Probably, but at the same time, I think 3 or 4 of them could have come off at half time. Because, right, I know I'm well known on Twitter, especially as a Paddy Roberts enthusiast, but he didn't have a good game, and I know you had quite a good insight into why you thought he didn't have a good game last night, but I thought you could have took Armstrong off, you could have took Dembele off, anybody, Rogic, like nobody was having a good game. I don't know if it's just because Roberts is on loan from Man City, but he seems to be, I'll give the benefit of the doubt, it does seem to be more on social media than at the actual games, but there's a lot of fans who are giving him the brunt of it for Inverness and then giving him a hounding last night, and I think people just need to remember he's only 19 years old and he's still developing, and he's not going to be a 9 out of 10 rating every game.
No, you're right, he is only young, he's still developing. He said in an interview before the game actually with Chris Sutton that Chris Sutton asked him, what you're looking to improve on. He said Everton, what I'm good at, I want to be great at, and what I'm bad at, I want to be average at. And I thought it showed a lot of maturity in his. I just thought last night, the way Alloa were set up, he should have been moved to the left, and I know he's predominantly on the right, but he should have been moved to the left, because the only way around them last night was on the outsides, and I thought it at times, sorry to say, maybe he kind of had out the game, but I thought we stopped giving him a ball after a while, and I actually felt quite sorry for him. I wasn't surprised he was out. Just on that, people were putting the boot in him last night, and I felt really bad, because Robert's a great player, and he has been a good player for us, and 90% of Twitter before he signed, and I was in the 10%. I'm no beating my own horn here, but there was no development awfully for Man City. We don't want loan players, we want our own players, which is fair enough. But you know what? I was of the mindset Denayer was a great player for us. Roberts might be good for us. And he had a slow start, and then when he started breaking into the team, everybody's like, this boy's going to be the player of the year next season. And, so then he was loved at the end of the season, and now I thought he was actually no bad against Barcelona. I thought he was a wee bit too interested in beating players. Maybe he looked good, but he was an outlet in that first half. Second half, he fell out of the game, like every single Celtic player. Yeah. And I didn't hate him at Inverness. I thought he was alright, but I'd like to see him on the left. I know he plays on the right, because that's probably what he's played all his life. I want to see him on the left, driving at players on the outside and getting crosses into the box, because he's clearly got an understanding with Big Dembele. He's played with him before, I think, at Fulham. I just want to see him be a wee bit more direct on the left, because I thought last night the way Alloa was set up, as I said, it was screaming. As soon as Sinclair came on, they came on at the top of the second half there. No, but Sinclair Sinclair can go to the byline. He's shown that he's a threat when he gets down there. He's good on his left. He can get the ball into the box. And I thought I know we didn't get the goal that way because Forrest cut inside and scored, but I just thought it was the only way we were going to score is going down the middle. Down the outside. But moving on to the second half, it was more of the same with the first. More cup frustration. Boss seemed to fall for Rogic and Armstrong a lot, who seemed to find Rosehead a lot. Rodgers then made a sub when he brought off Jozo Simunovic, who I thought looked quite good again, and brought on Ryan Christie. And we kind of went to a 3-6-1 in the middle, which was kind of interesting to see how it all kind of came together. But it worked, because Ryan Christie set the first goal up with an exquisite pass. What did you made the telly when the goal, well, the celebration? See when Christie played that pass, what did you think?
You seen it straight away how good the pass was,
yeah.
And I don't think he said enough praise for it, to be honest.
I thought it was a great pass.
It was a stunning pass, and it was probably the first time in the game that Alloa had really committed men forward, and Christie just showed the intelligence to exploit it. And fair play Forrest as well. He done really well to get it back. I think he just shooting right outside his foot. So, but it was a great finish. And Ryan Christie, people were claiming that they wanted him to start before the game. I'll be honest, I said that I didn't know if he was good enough to start last night, but I thought he played really well when he came off.
I did a wee bit. A lovely wee turn at one point as well. I think he's a player that's dying to impress. Christie, I think he's a great attitude. Christie, I've noticed that whenever he plays. I thought he was absolutely terrible in Gibraltar. We will talk about that, and I thought maybe that was his big chance to impress. But any time he came on against St Johnstone, scored the fourth goal, which we didn't think we'd need, and then obviously get the assist last night. I just think he's a great player with a great attitude, and what I'd heard last year, I know it's a new management team and that now, but I'd heard that they certainly had high hopes for a player with him. Now that was 82 minutes, and I think about 4 or 5 minutes later we scored again. Dembele continued his good scoring record at Parkhead with a lovely turning shot. Well, lovely bit of skill before the shot. Did you... I mean, the way they were talking on BT was almost a fuck poor Alloa, 2-0 flat Celtic, but I don't think there's any argument that Celtic were more than 2 goals better than Alloa last night.
Aye, definitely. 2-0 didn't flatter Celtic. It was probably probably a fair reflection. It could have easily been more, but I think it would have been a bit of an injustice if Alloa had took it to extra time.
Yeah.
Big Dembele, aye, it's good to see him. That goal did him good because it hopefully just gets that Barcelona penalty miss out his mind. And I think I heard them say on BT last night that that's 8 goals at Celtic Park now, so that's some going from him. Considering he's like him himself, he's still young as well. Like, so 8 goals for this point of the season at home, that's can only be good.
Is he go? Aye, it must be. Yeah, I think Dembele's a great player. I know somebody else we talked to on Twitter, Von Doom, reckons that he'll go for 20 million once he puts everything together. I can only agree. I think he's a fantastic football player, and obviously came up with a bit of a reputation, and he'll certainly be. Well, he'll have his eye on a certain semi-final, but just final thoughts on Alloa. As you say, you were kind of Alloa didn't deserve extra time, but see, after about 70 minutes, did you just think, here we go again?
Well, I was a bit surprised. Like, I'll know, like, the game had actually caught me, and the time I looked at my phone, there was only 15 minutes left, and I did worry, but at the same time, Alloa didn't threaten me enough to think, they could go up and nick one, and that's us going to be out. One thing I would say about Alloa game, it was good to see the flexibility in the team again. It's like you say, when Jozo went off, Christie came on, they changed shape, and then once we scored, they brought Tom Rogic off and put Eric Sviatchenko on, so it was just good to see that they can adapt throughout the game.
I would agree. I thought, as I say, it was a kind of 4-3-3 or a 4-6-1 at times. I think he tried to push Sinclair and Christie forward, or certainly Forrest, but
I know you want a sweeper keeper, but you can't play a 4-6-1.
No, I know. Well, 3-6-1. As I say, I thought it was weird, but I thought, I'll be honest, I thought flooding the midfield wasn't the best thing to do to beat a team that was sitting in, because but I know it worked. That put us into the semi-final, where we joined Rangers and Morton. So then tonight Aberdeen scored the right winner against St Johnstone, and that put them into the semi-final. So there were 4 teams obviously in the draw, and we drew Rangers again.
Well, I'm not going to say that people want my lottery numbers for Saturday, but I did back a Dembele hat-trick, and I'll read you out the text I sent to your good self at 4:25, where I said that we're going to draw the bastards tonight and we can start fantasising again, and that's just what we're going to do.
So you must have been disappointed when we didn't get Morton.
Hoops against Hoops in the final.
I've been saying it all week. As I say, one of my good pals is in Madrid at a minute, and there's another Morton fan that's in one of their classes, and I says to him on Tuesday for a laugh that Celtic Morton would be the first showcase of the season, so hopefully with a wee bit of luck that'll be the case, and they'll need to wear an away cap because their hoops come first. Just on the draw, I mean, obviously everybody will be looking back to 12 days ago and talking about that gate victory. Rangers seem to have been a bit of turmoil at the minute. It went from bad to worse with Joey Barton. The way things are going, he might still be suspended before that League Cup semi-final. But we've played a month today or tomorrow. Dan, talk to me before I get nervous.
We had a slight redemption last Saturday, and this is going to be the Hampden revenge for us. I want them on the pitch again. I want us to embarrass them.
Is this laying the ghost to the semi-final, or did we do that 12 days ago?
I think I'd like to win at Hampden, just for the neutral venue, get it out of the way. Also, it'll be Brendan Rodgers' first time at Hampden as Celtic manager, so that'll be good.
Right, I don't know far back, but for my lifetime, Janssen, Dalglish, Anil, Strachan and Dyler, they've all got one thing in common. It being Celtic manager. Do you know what it is?
I'd imagine it's either first one at Hampden or semi-final against that mob.
No, well, they all did win their first. Well, Wim Jansen never won his first game at Hampden because I don't think Wim Jansen played at Hampden. Their first trophy, Celtic manager, was the League Cup, and Neil beat Rangers in the semi-final on the way to winning the treble. We've been saying ever since Brendan Rodgers got the job that this feels like Mark O'Neill's first season again. I mean, the comparisons are starting to get scary.
I think this would be such a put us in such a good feeling at the club again. Like, because if we beat them, it's a great time for the fans that go to away games, because I was reading we play them at Hampden, then we've got Ross County away, and then we've got Aberdeen away, and then we've got Mönchengladbach away. So that'll be expensive but fun time for the fans.
I think as well, me and you have been talking obviously after the pod, talking every day. We said around about middle August when we were working in the Mid-State Champions League, when all the pundits backed Rangers to win the League Cup because basically they wanted Rangers to win the League Cup, not because they thought Rangers would win the League Cup. And the general consensus was Celtic will be too torn up for the Champions League. Rangers can sneak in and win the first domestic honour of the year. And they were building it up to saying that when if this happens, that'll give Rangers the confidence to fire a title challenge. Now, I says to you, I put it to you that, do you know what, if we qualify for the Champions League and beat Rangers in September, we'll be flying. And I know it's been not the best 3 games since Rangers, but if we beat them, right, and keep our lead in the league, because I've got a feeling we'll pull a couple of points on them at the weekend, at least 2. If we beat them in October, qualify for the final and win the League Cup, you would like to think nothing will stop us. It will take a Stephen McLean refereeing performance from my very paranoid mind. That's the only thing that will stop us winning the treble.
And I don't know about treble. Like, I'm confident. Like I say, I've got daft bets on us to go unbeaten in the league. Let's just get this one out of the way and then work towards it. I know we all think. I think I've 1 in 15 or 1 in 16 with the bookies now for the title, but let's just take it a trophy at a time. Like, I didn't like last season especially. Like, Dyler was always seemed to be hounded with the questions about the treble, and I think if you speak about it you almost jinx it. Let's just go one game at a time.
I quite like that outlook, but I says to you, if we beat them in September, we'll win the treble. And we did. So I think if we beat them, I know you say you don't want to talk about it, but good things are happening at Celtic at the minute, and the Champions League threat is kind of threatening to be a bit of a damn squib, to be honest, if we're going to get beat 7-0 every game. But I think domestically we're not quite untouchable, because Sunday showed that, you know, ball and airbox and we do lose goals. If we beat them at Hampden in October, I think they could be as much as 15 points to the end of this point. If that happens, we will win the treble. I'll say it right now. Unless, you know, it would need to be away to Pittodrie in the Scottish Cup, and then away to Tynecastle, and then away to Inverness. We'd need to, and that's just to get through one round.
I think we will win the semi-final. Right, I'm not going to give that mob any respect, but Aberdeen are the second best team left in this competition. We've got a suitable draw that the players will be up for, and we showed how much better we were than them last week, so I imagine it'll be more of the same.
speaking about the semi-finals, it'll be a Hampden, right? And obviously it's a one-half game, it can happen. And we're no, we are fairly confident, but we're no, hubris yet. As I say, I've made my mind up. And my point about the treble is I just think if we win the League Cup, Rodgers is title manager, where he'll be drumming that into players saying, look, this is first trophy, celebrate it but move on. Scottish Cup doesn't start in New Year, so I'm excited. I'll admit I'm very, very excited. As I say, I think I wanted them in the semi-final. I'd rather get them out of the road now if we didn't play them. I hope Morton win the other semi-final, so it'll be a nice wee showcase in the final. And obviously a slightly easier game than Aberdeen. Obviously there's a lot of talk about what happened at the last Old Firm game with both sets of supporters seeming to try and outdo each other in the I'm offended stakes. Surely we'll not see any dolls hanging for Hampden.
You say that. I don't know if they'll be hanging for Hampden, but I'm getting a slight feeling there might be a few dolls.
But I don't think any will be hanging for Hampden. We never touched on it the last episode. I was waiting for Hunter to come on because Hunter's quite good talking about issues with fans. I always value his opinion on these matters, but what did you make it? I think a lot is over dramatic. I think for both sides.
I would maybe a bit distasteful to certain people, but it was over dramatised. They tried to use hanging dolls and signs to be deflecting tactics for the fact they get absolutely hammered. The fact of the matter is that 7,000 Rangers fans came to Celtic Park to try and offend Celtic fans and left offended, which pretty much says it all. They smashed up our toilets. It's nothing new, it's no good, it's criminal. You've got to ask what is Celtic paying police for if they're allowed to, because you could see police standing there, they're allowed to just absolutely ransack the toilets and cause people are saying up to £100,000 worth of damage. You've got to ask that. But like I say, I don't think that the hanging dolls aspect there deserved people to be arrested for it. Maybe just a word in the ear, but that's a different issue. Football fans in this country are definitely criminalised for being football fans, so that's something else that needs looked at.
Let me just say on here that I'm 100% against the hanging dolls. I know it took out of context. A lot of people want to hijack it for their own needs. It's just horrible imagery on my part. As I say, I know a lot of people that have banned that way. But to me it was the banner that was this is it boys, this is war. They were victims of war. It was a kind of strike, we struck you first kind of thing, tat for tat. And as you say, I thought the Rangers fans, you could hear them during the telly shouting pedo, pedo, pedo during the game. As you say, I think it was something to hang on to. We get beat 5-1, what about the crowd, we've seen. And it was like it was because I've not heard much talk about how terrible their team were that day. But as I say, I thought for both sides it was over dramatised. At the end of the day, they hate us, we hate them. And the media can't build it up Monday to Friday and then the next Monday be horrified by it. We're being told we need this fixture. We've been told for 4 years that Celtic can't survive without Rangers, and whatever guys Rangers are a new club, whatever, we've been told for 4 years, wait till Rangers are back up, we can get a proper title race. Well, last year at this point the league was a lot closer probably. We're hearing about how Glasgow needs this game, it's about, and then after it it's all about how these two sets of fans can't control themselves, and then the media, wash their hands of it and say, it's not their fault.
The one thing I'd say at the game, I think there was only one arrest, so
yeah. It's just, if somebody that studies, media, we're getting told about how, I just found it odd that how from Monday to Friday before the game, it's all about how excited everybody is. And I mean, me and you were positively hanging out for the game, as I recall. But on the Monday, it was like, oh, what about this, what about that? And I mean, the most offensive thing for the game on my part was fucking Davy Weir getting sent in the stands, which we predicted before the game. But I just thought it's always going to be, and it will be a big talking point, obviously before October. And I would imagine that, I mean, putting on my tinfoil hat here, I would imagine that the police and the media won't be too unhappy if something happens, because they can then move the Hogmanay game to a quote-unquote safer date. What do you make of that?
Hey, first of all, I was absolutely shocked that they made it on Hogmanay, but from what I hear, the options were the Friday night before, which I'm never ever going to get one on a Friday night, or actual New Year's Day. But I don't know why they did it when you play in the second, because that's a Monday, it's a bank holiday for a lot of people. But I was very shocked. But if you listen to it, it's apparently the SPL, the two clubs, the police that have all agreed. So
I heard that the police are trying to change it to the second. To be honest, I mean, I like Hogmanay, I like going out in Hogmanay, so going out a wee bit earlier might not be the best option. But I think, as you say, Saturday morning is perfect. I mean, it adds a wee bit exciting to the fixture being played at around about this time of year. So, but I just think, at the back of my mind, I think maybe they'll be hoping for a wee bit of trouble at the semi-final, so they can, justify trying to move it again. But that's for when the semi-final comes. Next, we've got Kilmarnock at Celtic Park on Saturday, and I've been saying for weeks that a team might just be on the end of an absolute doing at Celtic Park. So, by the law of averages, it must be Kilmarnock. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it would be good to get a confidence up before Man City next week. Hopefully Lee Griffiths is back fit, but Kilmarnock have looked shite, to be honest. Like, apart from the Rangers game when they actually looked alright, but I think that's many day with them. Then Kilmarnock, sorry, but I think we could win quite comfortably.
You said you hope Lee Griffiths is back. Does he get back into the starting lineup for you?
Depending if he's fit, obviously. If it was a muscular injury, maybe he only do what a game half an hour, but depends how fit he is. I'd like him to have as much match fitness.
Do you bring him on with the start him?
I don't know. Like I said, the one thing I would say is that when you play him against Man City, if he doesn't play on Saturday, I think it'd be too much at risk. I think you've got to test the injury out. Maybe half an hour on Saturday is what he needs. But I'd like him to have some sort of game time before Man City.
I don't disagree with that. Kilmarnock, as you say, have had a bit of struggle at the start of the season. I think they signed about 11 players in one day at one point.
Yep.
So it's been obviously quite a turnaround there for Lee Clark. Threw away 3 points on Saturday against Thistle, who have been equally as bad at the start of the season. I just think at home we will start part. I mean, we've won at home this year. We've won domestically. We've 4-1, 5-1, 5-0, and 2-0. So we're scoring a lot of goals at home. I can't see Saturday being anything other than a good win. I know a lot of bluster comes out, say 6-7-0. Genuinely think if Celtic got an early goal, they could run riot. And because if the pressure could come off, they'll be thinking about City. The longer the game goes on, and now obviously they'll be starting to worry about City. But I think if it gets to a point where we're maybe 2 or 3 up after half an hour, players can start playing for a position on Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, sorry. Kilmarnock's star man would be Chris Boyd, I'd imagine. He's about the only Kilmarnock player I actually know for certain still there. He scored again at the weekend. He's not got a great record against Celtic. So who would you put up against him?
I'd give Big Joe's more time. He's not got a great record. He's a good SPL player, but I think we're just a bit of a class above, and I'd imagine whether it be Sviatchenko, Toure or Simunovic, that they would have too much for him.
I think he'll let Big Toure in. I think Big Toure loves that physical presence. He seems to, the Hearts, he seems to stroll through that game with Connor Sam and jumped into him a lot. Really looking forward to Saturday. I must admit, my last Celtic game was Celtic Kilmarnock last year in November, and it was a piss poor 0-0 draw. So I'm hoping for something different this time. Have you got a prediction?
I'll go Celtic 5, Kilmarnock now.
I'll go for... You got a first goal scorer?
I will go for Scott Sinclair.
I'll say Celtic 7, Kilmarnock 0. I'll say... Do you know what? I'll say Colo Toure for a corner after 6 minutes. So I'm not sure if we're going to preview Man City. So, well, I don't think we will. I'll probably just review Man City next week.
Depends if Man City are as good as they were last week. I'll probably be hiding under the covers if they look as good as they this weekend.
Man City have started the season really well. Guardiola needs no introduction. His team's always hit the ground running. He's seen it at Bayern, he's seen it obviously at City and at Barca. Doesn't it take a lot of time to get his... Now, I fear Kevin De Bruyne the same way I fear Messi and Suarez. He has always been a good player, De Bruyne. Thought he was kind of unfairly treated at Chelsea, but since he's been at City, he's been the main player for a year. Guardiola seems to have turned him into something different, a completely new animal. I don't know who they played the weekend actually.
They've got Swansea City away.
Well, they played them away last night, didn't they?
Yep.
They won 3-2.
Yep.
So they'll go back there and probably will win a game. They probably will win. They seem to be on a steamroller to that title already. I actually watched their 90 minutes last week because I had them on a bet, and some of the football was just unreal. Their counter-attacking play, I think 2 of their goals, second and third goals were just terrific. The first goal was a great finish with De Bruyne for a free kick.
I think what Rodgers has done with James Forrest, Guardiola has done with Raheem Sterling.
To different degrees, I agree. I think Sterling is a player that Rodgers gave him that initial confidence when he broke into the Liverpool team. And if you look at the season Liverpool won the league, Suarez and Sturridge got a lot of credit, but Sterling had a great year. Liverpool should have won the league that year and threw it away. I think Sterling had a great year. I think his toys were out of plan, he had to leave. Eventually got his move to Man City for 49 million. He had a really bad season last year, really bad season. He had a bad Euros, but Guardiola's gave me confidence. He looks like a different player, and he's playing with confidence, he's playing with hunger. You need to watch him Wednesday night. He will absolutely tear us apart if we don't get near him. Tierney's in for a tough 90 minutes. But at Celtic Park, we've had great nights at Celtic Park, especially against English teams in the last 15-20 years. I think only Arsenal have beaten us. It'll be a really tough 90 minutes, but don't laugh at me. Something special's going to happen Wednesday night at Celtic Park. It's Brendan Rodgers' first Champions League game at Park Eden groups. The noise is going to be electric. It's an English team, so the crowd are going to be even more up for it. Something special's going to happen.
Well, if you're taking odds on that, I'll take a tenner on it, mate.
And I said it, I know we get beat 7-0 against Barca, but I said it in the last pod that I don't think it aired the Hunter, that I said the Champions League brings the best out of Celtic, and it might bring out the best in Man City Wednesday night, and there's something special I'm talking about. Might be Man City just been absolute sublime, but I can't shake the feeling, Dan, that something absolutely wonderful is awaiting us on Wednesday night.
Oh, we'll see. I'm always the eternal optimist with Celtic, so I'll expect us to win. Nothing else will be good enough, but we'll see.
I just can't shake the feeling. I've had it for about 2 or 3 days now, just thinking about it. Celtic at home in the group stages in the Champions League. I know we had a bad term the last time and stuff. I just, there's something about this team, something about Rodgers. I've got visions of him. Visions of him with that on in the air celebrating, and everybody been dead happy.
Just think, listeners, you can play this back after we're 6-0 down after half
yes.
Next week.
I mean, it's City knock, and I mean, you can distract yourself for the second half. You know, the second half mauling by listening to this. I don't know, maybe I'm being an eternal optimist, but I've just got a feeling something special's going to happen at Celtic Park.
Hopefully, I'm sure we'll cover that next week.
I'm sure we'll be back to at least review it if we don't preview it.
If we don't preview it, we'll post on Twitter about our predictions, but we'll either preview or review, you know.
I think something dramatic would need to happen on Saturday for us to put a podcast out before now and next Wednesday. But of course, if you know, we'll try. Definitely looking to bring one out for every Champions League game. I think if it brings out the best in Celtic, it should bring out the best in the Celtic podcasting world.
Aye, we'll try and be an anti 20 minutes Tim's jinx.
So, before we wrap up, what is your 45-minute opinion on Joey Barton?
Fuck Joey Barton.
And that's good night for me. That's good night for him. We will be back, as I say, next week with the Man City, either a further in-depth preview or a review, or if it's as bad as the Barcelona game, we'll probably just hide under the couch until next. Who we got after Man City?
Dundee.
Away?
I think so. Aye, Dundee away.
Well, we might not come back out, so anything like that, Dan, before we wrap us up?
No, just remember that when you walk through a storm, there's a whatever the fucking lyric is on it, look out the walk-on lyrics, but
okay.
That's the one. Aye, and he's kind of criticised Patrick Roberts, but I'll keep up my daily Twitter thread of photos there at OCBhoy. Yeah, that's right, I'm back at OCBhoy, not OCB67 anymore, so follow me there. This feels like when Airdrie United went back to being Airdrie Orients. I don't want to sound like a Rangers fan, but it's not on UCO Twitter, it's the same Twitter.
Alright, Pacific Shelf. You can catch me at Brucehillbhoy on Twitter, where I'll be talking general rubbish. You can follow our boy Hunter around Glasgow. He does regular sermons at street corners. And well, before we go, I'd like to thank a good friend of the pod, Stevie Dunn, for a mention on his latest blog today, which you can read at Glasgow is Green. Me and you both made it.
I did.
So we're not just iTunes that we're trying.
You can find him on Twitter at GIGpod.
Yep. And read their stuff, they're really good. And of course, HailHailMedia, a lot of great Celtic content coming out this week and every week, especially with the Champions League. There'll be great content coming out involving great guys like Harper and co. They'll be bringing out some great stuff probably next week after the Champions League game. So if you're at a fix, you're at a loss for any Celtic content, just go on to HailHailMedia and I guarantee you'll get your fix. So this has been the Nothing But Respect podcast. If you made it as far as us this week, we've got nothing but respect for you. And we're on season 2, episode 5 next, I believe.
Yep.
So season's starting to take shape, and I know Darren wants to be cautious, but I think this is going to be a great season, and we hope to spend a lot of the year. So, hail, hail, and thanks for listening.
Cheers, help.